Hello and welcome to GOA365's Face to Face. Now, normally we don't really highlight the medical profession, doctors, but in the recent past, doctors and the profession as a whole, including the hospitals, has been right in the public eye. This is due to what's happened in Kolkata when a PG doctor was brutally assaulted and killed, and there were allegations and then strikes all over India. And so we've been following this news, we've been doing discussions on this, we've had some interviews also, and today with me is Dr. Deepti Pinto Rosario from Goa. She's studied outside Goa, but she's working in Goa now.
I've done my MBBS here.
She's done MBBS in Goa as she
GMC.
So, doctor, welcome.
Thank you.
This, yeah. So now you are somebody who has worked in suppose if you've done your MBBS means you worked in GMC.
Yes.
With that load, with that general, those long hours and all that. So what is the experience as a doctor in a government hospital and now in private practice? The difference is there, not there? And just give us a general overview before we get into the actual crux of the matter.
I think there's a very big difference between being a junior doctor and a senior doctor, whether you're in government or private.
Okay.
So what people don't realize is that the junior doctors almost carry the department on their backs because they're doing so much work, so much non-stop work. They're doing everything from writing little notes to taking vitals of the patient, to blood samples, to examining, assisting in surgeries, night duties. I mean, there's not even a cap on the number of hours that a doctor may be asked to be on duty. It can go into 2 days, 3 days, and it's not like you get a compensatory off. You just have to keep working. So there's a lot of work that junior doctors are expected to do with very little relief, both mentally and physically.
So the load is there, right?
Yeah, the problem is that there are too few of us doctors and just too many patients. So I think that's a universal problem here in our country.
Not only I think in our country, because at least in Goa, in India, if you're sick, you can go to a hospital. If you are in the UK, you have to take 2 months, 3 months, literally.
That's true. We're very blessed actually with the system here. We have quick access to doctors, but that's because we work so hard.
Because it's because of the doctors, of course. Now my point here is that I have I know so many doctors, and we've spoken to so many doctors. So though everybody looks at a doctor, ultimately it's like if there's a problem, they'll go to the police. So if mostly health, and India is going through a lot of health, people from India are going through a lot of health issues. So they look up to the doctors. It's like the final call before I don't know, a priest or whatever. So, but is that one of the reasons why you all face so much of backlash from patients who come with total, and see, I mean, you all are not gods ultimately you all are humans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's only so much you can do. So is that one of the reasons why there's so much of backlash against doctors?
I think what you're saying as doctors being looked upon as almost god-like status, being able to rescue you from any situation. But I think, see, my dad was a doctor, my grandfather was a doctor, and I think times have changed quite a bit since that generation. In those days, if Dr. Antonio couldn't do anything, nobody could do anything. But I don't think, that godlike status is slowly being etched at, and it's slowly being eroded. Nowadays, there's a lot of suspicion when it comes to interacting with doctors, and it goes both ways. There are a few bad seeds in every profession.
Of course.
And unfortunately,
commercialization of
but right now sometimes the expectations are unrealistic, and like you said, we're not gods. People are going to have complications, there are going to be adverse events, and we are unfortunately at the receiving end of a lot of physical and verbal abuse when that happens sometimes.
You were saying statistics also.
Statistics say, yeah, almost 75% of doctors in India have been physically abused at some point, and 100% of us have been verbally abused. I can attest to that for sure.
Yeah, because I know like in GMC you see especially late nights, deaths, and then we have seen a lot of that. Now more than that is one thing. Now the society expects so much from doctors, but does society actually give back to you all? Like now we are specifically talking about cases like what's happened in Calcutta. Then after that so many cases have happened, like doctors, they have been assaulted, abused, hospitals have been broken up, doctors have been assaulted. Now society expects all this from you all, but does society actually give back to you all so that you all can live and work in safety and with your self-respect? Is that happening? Because I don't see it happening. And one incident which has really shocked the nation, I think, and put the way the police and the government has behaved in this particular case from a doctor who's she's PG. She was not even just a MBBS. She was already doing this, but she treated very shabbily. So is that?
I think society and the government has failed us as doctors, but has also failed us as women. And when you bring two together, another statistic, 1 in 3 women in the world, according to the WHO, have faced some sort of physical or sexual abuse. So when we don't have that freedom, I mean, as a woman, I can't take a walk in the street at 10 o'clock at night. How do you expect me to do a duty in the middle of the night when you're rushing around saving lives and, doing all of that? You get 5 minutes to put your head down in a seminar room, which is in your college. You assume that you don't have to sleep at 1. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there has to be harsher laws. There has to be some accountability. There should have been a better investigation. I mean, things were not done as they should have been. Things should be moving faster. There are so many rape cases just languishing in courts. There's so much victim shaming. There's so much, witnesses turning hostile, evidence gone missing. So I think there's so much that needs to be done.
We had a discussion the other day wherein we were talking. There was a lawyer there, and he's also, he's also involved with the government cases. The conviction rates are very bad in Goa. Forget India. In Goa, they are very, very bad. So basically, license to kill or to assault somebody sexually or other.
Conviction rates, and first of all, the reporting rates are very low.
No. That's the thing. Even if the cases that are reported, almost 80 to 90% are investigated. The culprit goes in, but it's like the odds are so good in his favor that in almost 100% of the times he gets out. It's free. The cases are so bad, and most of the time it's because of the government side. Everybody and the judiciary, for the time it takes for cases to be completed. But it's basically the government has failed, the police have failed, investigations have failed. As you said, witness is turned hostile. There was these Ajmer cases, 92. A few days back, the orders were given out. 92 to now. That time there was crazy, girls, and now they are grandmothers. Imagine who is going to come up there and your name, your everywhere beats. And then how India is, they keep on pointing fingers at everybody.
Absolutely.
So why is a person who wants to do anything, there is no deterrent at all?
There's no deterrent.
That's what I'm trying to say. Conviction rate is almost zero. So why do you all, to be, sometimes many friends say, to be a doctor and a woman and all, it's like a crime in India. What do you feel?
Definitely. We need to feel safe in order to do our jobs. We need to have more protection. If you've heard some of the solutions that are coming out of this, they're absolutely ridiculous. Don't make women do night duties. Don't make them work in pairs. You're putting the onus on women again, and you're letting men know that they can do whatever they want, and women have to somehow fend for themselves. If you tell me that there's going to be harsher punishment, that there's going to be faster convictions, then maybe things would change if people were scared to do what they're doing.
There is no fear, no?
Exactly.
That's some message that has gone across, including in Calcutta this time, so much. But you feel that this is going to, improve, help out. What do you feel?
I hope things are going to change, because for once people have come out onto the streets in a bigger way than we've
Huge,
seen before.
This is very huge.
Yeah, it's far more, and things normally quiet down by now, but they haven't. And things are getting louder and louder, and I think that's important. We have to keep talking about this. We cannot just bury the memory. We cannot put them up as martyrs and say Nirbhaya and kind of let it go from there. She cannot be martyred. Something has to come out of this.
Also, I think the media has to be, the coverage of the media has to be fair, because here the coverage of the media follows the political angle. Like so many cases, the cases have happened in Bihar, just 2-3 days after this, it happened in UP, happened in Bihar, happened in many places, but a portion of the media is only going after Calcutta. So the media also is, I think, responsible for being very selective in some of these issues. I feel. I don't know what you feel as
absolutely. I think there are. If you look at statistics, I think almost 100 rape cases per day are being happening in India.
Yes.
We don't hear about any of this. So when you hear about this one case, you get horrified. But then think about things that are happening absolutely every day. And they're not being brought to light. Now, because she was a doctor, because this happened in a medical college, somehow it has gained media
because
attention.
the opposition party put so much of pressure and the media went after it. That is the reason why it blew up so much. Within 2 days of that, a minor girl from Bihar was gang raped, cut up into pieces and thrown. How many media have made an issue about it? How many candlelight marches were held there? How much? Very few, like we covered it, few people covered it, but most people didn't do that. People were arrested, were not arrested. After 6 months of arrest, how many people have been convicted? Those statistics the government is not giving us. We have to see, and whether the cops who have ensured that the investigation has been botched, how many of them have been arrested? That we should see, because it looks like there's a collusion. As a bystander, as a person who's watching from out, what is your? I'm talking as somebody in the media, like from outside. What do you feel? Media has failed, society has failed you, government has failed you, or everything's fine?
I think nothing's fine. I think society has failed as a whole, because we're still not addressing the core issues as to why these rapes are happening and why they're happening so blatantly. Women are still treated as property, as transactions. Even from a young age, if you watch a boy and a girl being brought up in a household, it's still a girl is supposed to serve the boy or serve the father. A girl is there to be given off in marriage. Her whole worth and identity is linked to her virginity and her sexual status. So rape is still being used as a form of punishment, as a form of revenge. Unless these basic things change in our society, nothing's going to change in the long run. And as far as the judiciary and the police are concerned, in countries where rape is really low, that's because the laws are really harsh. They know they're going to get into very big trouble if they even try it. But here, if like you said, if you know that there's a good chance that nothing's going to happen.
Good chance? 3%, 4%, 5% are the rates of, conviction rates. Good chance means it's a better chance of dying on the road than being convicted for any of these very heinous crimes.
So there's no deterrent then
That's the point. That's my point.
Where is our safety?
Yeah. So, what I was saying is that we had this, why I'm saying is because I'm just rehashing a few points that have been come to and we're discussing, like the mothers at home, they are women, that we have to admit, they are the ones who are responsible for bringing up their sons. Why are the mothers putting up the sons on pedestals? Don't you think that happens? Forget about places like Bihar and UP, which are like not, I'm sorry, people will get upset, but they are not developed compared to say West or West India or South India.
So I was just thinking about this.
Even in these places, the mothers and even the sisters, they are the ones who put the boys up on bed. Why? We have got 4 hands.
There has
or
to be
10 legs.
There has to be equality at home. There has to be equality in the workplace.
But they have to be told to treat women properly.
So I think it comes down, like for example, what you're talking about now in schools, they're taught bad touch and good touch.
Good touch. Yes.
They are taught how to give consent, but are they taught how to take consent? So other boys are, you know, being taught that this is when somebody says this, it's explicit consent. You cannot assume consent. No, these are all the finer points that you need to be teaching your boys, because you cannot just put the onus on the girls to recognize good touch and bad touch and them having to put their foot down.
Correct.
You need to teach boys and girls that yes means yes, no means no. You need to have boundaries. You need to respect other people's boundaries. And of course, like you said, you need to bring them up equally. If a girl can learn to cook, a boy should learn to cook. It's a basic life skill, and I don't think the onus should be just put on the mothers. I think if a boy sees his father chopping vegetables in the kitchen for his mother, just that simple act will bring on so much change.
I don't know about that. I'll give you an example why I'll tell you. Now see, I like to cook. Okay, so in our family, I mean, maids are there, no doubt, but like kitchen is, but still the older generation will first go for the son. No, you this.
I don't
It
think
doesn't work like
we're
that.
going to be able to change the
It
older
has to.
generation.
No, but it-
but I think
this is
from
what happens, no?
here on we can step in
Would
and
you
say
agree
no.
that this happens?
Absolutely. No, we've all experienced it.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've all experienced it. You know, boys will get later curfews.
Exactly.
Girls have to come home at a certain time. You know, that's just the way boys and girls have to be brought up differently in this country for safety reasons. But who is causing
Actually,
the environment to be unsafe?
But
That is what
respect
we should
also,
look
no?
for.
Respect has to be taught. Respect that you're not, that thing also comes from the, see, however, one thing also we have learned, however much policing is there, deterrent is there, everything. Of course, conviction rates are very bad. This is a complete fault of the government, and because the police comes under the government, most of a large number of investigations are botched. Forensics is not there only, they don't know. The same guy who goes and lathi charges somebody is doing forensic. How is it? It's a specialty. It's not like a ward boy or a person who cleans your toilet can do surgery. It is just not possible.
No.
So this is something that the government, it's totally government's fault, specialization and all that. But even with that, respect has to be fostered
from a young age.
Yeah, and that is not happening.
If you miss those first few formative years, I mean, most likely things are not going to change after a certain point. And you know, it's like locker room talk should not be just acceptable. And these movies these days,
Objectifying women. Absolutely.
I mean, have you seen Animal?
No, I don't.
It's one of the worst movies that has taken women and womanhood back decades, I
Really?
would say.
And it's quite a hit, I think.
It's a super hit, which should tell you something about our country, you know.
I don't need to be told about our country, but
Just
still.
objectifying women and I don't know, justifying abuse and, you know, equating a woman to childbearing, and there's a lot of
But then the censors
violence against women in that movie that is justified as love. You know what I'm saying? Like the husband being violent towards the wife is justified as love, which
even stalking and all, like the hero will stalk the heroine. It's
That's
like
romantic.
Yeah, that's like the most ridiculous thing I've seen. And then that objectifying, you know, it's like. Anyway, yeah, I remember I had this conversation with my wife. She said, "Arey, just tell them to see the Hindi movies." Yeah. And what are the censors doing? Nothing. They're just making a bigger issue. And I don't think that the government is actually knows what it's doing in these cases. Now we had a discussion. We had the national spokesman of the TMC was there for the discussion a couple of days. Is going to go on and going to be aired anytime. He was saying now police are out, right? CBI is out. Now it is 8-10 days. What has happened? What is the CBI going to do? At least they should tell us, no, it's a conspiracy, there were 40 people in the thing. At least some update should be given. So what? Now then they are going to, the CBI just giving example, giving this in court saying, no, now the full crime scene has been altered. The excuse is to show what?
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's become so political because of the lack of professionalism in our agencies, I feel.
Yeah.
Why I'm asking you is because I'm asking you to look at it from the outside. What do you see what is actually happening?
This is this total lack of empathy for the situation of that girl, and everybody looking out for their own interest, sort of a thing. Like initially they tried to pass it off as a suicide, which doesn't make any sense. And you know, just because it happened, people happen to step in and blow it up, is why it is receiving any sort of attention. So I mean, you look at the news and you don't really know what
is
to
happening,
expect anymore, right? And you don't know who's biased and who's not, what is biased news and what is unbiased news. So I don't know, it's very hard to get to the truth of it, and can't really believe what you hear on social media either, which
social media, it's another different.
But at least social media is bringing out things,
awareness, yes.
Awareness about things, and you know, things that would not have been brought out to light. It's some sort of media that the public has to have a voice about something, I would say.
Also, it gives you another, see, in India, there's one thing we have seen, like, if you can keep it under the carpet, then it disappears. The minute it comes out, then it explodes. Whoever you might be, it just takes this of its own. That's one thing. This is what the social media is doing, the truth or not truth or whatever. That's why probably all the powers that be are trying to muzzle it, is because of that. In fact, even WhatsApp and all, they were saying they wanted encryption and all, like even Meta and all, and they have refused. Because see, the type of democracy, that pure democracy, is not there in India. There's so much of pressures and things. So it's a thing. But you, as part of society, one. Second thing, as a doctor, what you feel is the future of a woman in any profession, which puts you in direct.
I think we need harsher laws, for sure.
We have got the harshest laws
no,
probably in the world.
There are some, no, for if somebody assaults a doctor in hospital,
okay.
I mean, there is a bill that is not been passed.
Yeah, not yet passed, yes.
Yeah, so why are they sitting on it, right?
Okay.
So I need to know that if somebody comes and hits me,
that's something,
something will be done. He'll be arrested without bail, that, you know, he has a minimum imprisonment, that then somebody will think twice before hitting me, right?
Correct.
So that has to be done. There has to be more security.
Deterrence.
There has to be more security, more police, more, for us to be able to trust in the system, for us to be able to work. Because in a job like ours, there is so much pressure. If you continue to work, you will have complications, because that's a natural part of the job.
Of course.
You will have people have to pass away eventually, and most of them are going to do it at a hospital, right?
Yeah.
So how can you work with that sword hanging over your head and make those kind of decisions, knowing that you've done everything that you could in full competency, and expect that amount of respect? I mean, you cannot do it if there's a sword hanging over your head, and that has to be taken care of by the government, otherwise it's not going to work.
Even especially when you're a junior resident, you don't know, like, and as you said, the whole load comes on the juniors. Imagine that type of pressure.
To be honest, junior doctors are treated with very little respect. Yeah, no, it's a very sad situation, and it's something that gets passed on from generation to generation.
Like our interns, we're going to get coffee.
Absolutely. Very little respect by seniors. You know, the amount of ragging that goes on, that also can be quite traumatizing. And you know, they're in direct line of fire. They're not provided with the kind of tools that they need. So because we have so many patients, we are very good with our medicine, but you know, the communication tools,
not given, they're not trained.
Not trained. How to break bad news, how to handle a violent patient, what to do if the relatives start getting. So this kind of communication skills and empathy building and all of that, I think that needs to be a better part of our medical education in India, for sure.
But first of all, the minute when serious cases and all, the minute when the patients are in contact with the doctor, there should be some sort of a system, no? There should be some sort of a security where it doesn't get out of hand. There's nothing like that is there, I guess.
But some things can escalate
anytime, no?
Yeah, in minutes, in seconds, and then where do you go from there?
Night especially.
Yeah, there should be like a code or some, you know, like 100 that you can dial, something, some lifeline.
Also, like what, see, like I'll tell you at our place also, now like I was telling you, like lot of my, many of my family members were doctors, like even my great grandfather is one of the guys who was PCO and all, he was started with. But today, we don't want our kids to become doctors.
I don't want my kids to become doctors.
This generation, no, like you forget, be anything else. Because is this the future?
Nothing seems to be changing, to be honest.
That's why they don't want.
Nobody wants to do medicine anymore. I mean,
Once upon a time, it was what? Only medicine, engineering. That was let's say law, yeah, or CA. That was much later. But it was first medicine.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it sad?
It is very sad,
Like
because
our families
it's
don't want our
it's
people
such a
to go.
noble and satisfying profession, you know, when you.
But not when you're
But
put in this type of
exactly
thing.
what I'm saying is, you must have the peace of mind to be able to take those life-changing decisions, you know, with ease. You can't be thinking, oh, what if this,
Something
what if that,
happens.
what if that, you know, what will they say?
Can't perform, of course.
You can't perform, and you need to have that peace of mind in any profession to perform, right?
Correct, absolutely. Thanks, Dr. Deepti. It was very interesting, because people should know what happens also, behind the scenes, or what exactly is the scene. And ultimately, if this goes on, I think India also will not have too many doctors. As it is in the rural areas and all, we are having a major issue with doctors and all. But I think the government first of all has to decide, because if something happens with the people are not getting cured, people are not. The first targets are going to be the government, because doctors are not going to be there to be targets anymore. But anyway, hopefully these type of incidents brings this societal issues, this value system that our country is dipping to. I don't know where it's going, but hopefully, as you said, it brings it out. Discussions are being had, and hopefully things will change. Thanks, Dr. Deepti, for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. Thank you. This is Glenn Costa for GOA365's Face to Face. Keep watching.